WV Uncommonplace. This podcast is a variety podcast that houses numerous series to cover mental health, empowerment, podcast framework, and various intimate theories to get to know the hosts. Along with occasional movies reviews and dives in pop culture with our event podcast episodes. The Uncommonplace digs into bringing guests on that stories don't fit the mold and are very different. WV stands for the great state of West Virginia, and every quarter we cover something in West Virginia. Stacey and myself, JR, are your hosts, so please come along for this venture to our Uncommonplace.
Welcome to West Virginia Uncommonplace, the podcast that digs deep into the untold stories and unique aspects of life in West Virginia. I'm your host, JR, and today we're embarking on a thought-provoking journey as we explore the complex and multifaceted issue of racial disparity in the Mountain State. Join us as we dig deep into historic roots and current challenges and potential solutions to address this pressing concern. West Virginia, like many parts of the United States, has a rich and diverse cultural heritage, from the indigenous tribes who called this place home first, to the waves of European immigrants who sought opportunities in coal mines and industrial towns. The state's identity is shaped by the collective experiences of its people, yet beyond the surface, there exists a persistent and troubling reality, racial disparity, that continues to impact communities across West Virginia. And to the naked eye, when you are thinking about this and talking about this, it also lies in the distribution of where people live. West Virginia is very spread out, but there's a lot of area that's not inhabitable. So some people tend to stay in the upper parts. Some people stay in the center. But the southern and southwestern parts of West Virginia are give or take. So, to understand the present-day racial disparity in West Virginia, we must acknowledge its historical contents. The institution of slavery, followed by the era of segregation and Jim Crow laws, have left an indelible mark on the state's social, economical, and political landscape. The legacy of systematic racism continues to influence various aspects of life, from education, employment, to healthcare, and criminal justice. So let's start with education, a crucial area where racial disparity is present. According to data from the National Center for Educational Statistics, African American students in West Virginia consistently score lower on standardized tests and have lower graduation rates compared to their white counterparts. Factors as underfunded schools, lack of resources, and disparities in access to quality teachers contribute to these disparities. For example, in 2020, the high school graduation rate for African American students in West Virginia was 76.2 compared to 88.3 for white students. So even myself, I've noticed, like, in certain areas, if you don't have a jump shot, or if you're not in the STEM programs, if you're not somewhere that elevates education, doesn't matter if you're black or white, you fall by the wayside because there is no strong encouragement of that. And it's a problem here, and we have great people that are trying to deal with this stuff and build up a better foundation for the races and stuff like that, and just for education in general. So we are working on that. Now let's move on to another serious topic, employment. Racial disparities became evident in hiring practices, wage gaps, and disparities in career advancement. According to the United States Bureau of Labor Statistics, African Americans in West Virginia face higher unemployment rates compared to their white counterparts. In 2020, the unemployment rate for African Americans in the state was 9.5%, while it was 5.6% for white individuals. Wage gaps also are present here and persist, with African American workers earning less than their white counterparts for similar work. The median household income for African American households in West Virginia is approximately $31,000 compared to the $46,000 for white households. The healthcare system, this is another big one, in West Virginia also reflects racial disparities really bad. According to the report by the West Virginia Health Statistics Center, African Americans in the state have higher rates of chronic conditions such as diabetes, hypertension, and obesity compared to their white counterparts. Factors such as limited access to health care in rural areas, higher uninsured rates, and cultural barriers contribute to these disparities. For example, in 2020, the uninsured rate for African Americans in West Virginia was 10.7, while it was 6.1 for white individuals. And unless the African Americans unless we live in the bigger cities here, you can see a difference in how the care gets taken care of. Because I even have instances, because I have lived in the northern part, the northwestern part, the central, and the southern part of West Virginia, and there are differences in the healthcare going from the south to the north and even to the center where there's more prominent cities. So that's something that I can say personally for myself, that there is a major difference. And that's just crazy. Whew. And with the chronic conditions are favorable like this. Depending on your economic situation, depends on how you eat and how you take care of yourself. So that's one of the things that you kind of have to take with a grain of salt. You kind of got to be like, I don't know. Now, the criminal justice system reveals glaring racial disparities as well. According to the Prison Policy Initiative, African Americans in West Virginia were incarcerated at a rate nearly 3 times higher than white individuals. This representation highlights the need for criminal justice reform, including addressing issues such as implicit bias, sentence disparities, and policing on minority communities. Efforts to promote the fair and equal treatment within the criminal justice system should be coupled with initiatives that address the underlying social and economic factors that contribute to racial disparities in crime rates. So I will take this for an example. I have seen personally certain crimes, and we're talking like misdemeanors, nonviolent felonies, and different things like that. I have seen when a person that's African American, even to this day, commits that same crime, they do get a harsher sentence than their white counterpart. And with the way that they set up probation in the state of West Virginia, they, in some counties, if you're put on probation in that county, you have to reside in that county while you're on probation. So that's another factor right there that kind of just messes things up, and you see where these disparities come from, because in certain instances, if someone commits a crime, you commit a crime, you're guilty of it, that's fine. But to actually have to stay where you were guilty of a crime and pay your fines and live your life there, that's a little bit of torture in my book. Now, while discussions about racial disparity may seem disheartening, it's essential to acknowledging the efforts of others in the organizations and communities working tirelessly to address these inequalities. Grassroots initiatives, advocacy groups, and community organizations are actively engaging in the fight for social justice, raising awareness, and promoting policies that aim to dismantle this systematic racism. By supporting and amplifying these voices, we can collectively work together and make West Virginia have a little quality to it and a little bit of get rid of some of that racist biasm. Furthermore, fostering dialogue, understanding among West Virginians is crucial in challenging stereotypes, dismantling prejudice, and promoting inclusivity. Building bridges between communities and creating spaces for honest conversations that can help break down barriers and promote more equality and unite West Virginia will help. We must also actively ask to learn. We must, ask, learn from, and uplift diverse voices, embracing the richness of our differences while working toward a shared vision of equality and justice. As we reflect on these racial disparities in West Virginia, it is crucial to remember that change is possible by amplifying diverse voices, supporting initiatives that add systematic racism to nil. They take that away. Like, we got to get rid of systematic racism and foster an inclusive and equitable society where we can work together towards a future so every individual regardless of their race or ethnicity, has equal opportunity and access to fulfilling life. And this is something that I think that we can accomplish. And I see all types of people getting involved with this and doing this. So once again, I want to thank you for joining us on this extended episode of West Virginia Uncommonplace as we shed light on racial disparity in West Virginia. I'm your host, JR, urging you to continue the conversation, challenge assumptions, and contribute to the collective effort of building a more just and inclusive Mountain State. This concludes our episode for today. We will invite you to share your thoughts, experiences, and insights on racial disparity in West Virginia by sending us an email at wvuncommonplace@gmail.com. Talk to us on Instagram. Talk to us on any of these social media sites that you want to. Let's continue this dialogue and work together to create a brighter and more equal future for everyone. So until we do this again, let's keep these unique aspects of the Mountain State alive, and let's keep everything good all under one umbrella. I'm JR from West Virginia Uncommonplace. I'm signing off.
Please follow WV Uncommonplace on Instagram, Tumblr, Twitter, TikTok, where we have some great content, Facebook, LinkedIn. Hit up the merch store at oncommonplace.square.site. Join the email list from the website, and rate, subscribe, and give feedback from your favorite podcatcher. And lastly, thanks for listening, and tune into the next episode.